Hi there, this is Teri from Stamping Magic. Welcome back to my channel. I have another Christmas card to share with you today, and this one has lots of copper sparkle on it. I used the gorgeous Nature's Beauty stamp set for the images, and the background layer I embossed using a stencil, and then I heat embossed it using copper powder. So let's get started. These are all the measurements you need for the various elements required to create this project. So if you're interested in reproducing it, you can take a screenshot and refer to it later. I'm going to start by embossing my background layer using one of the basic pattern decorative masks. Now the sandwich I use to do this is my platform, an acrylic plate, my silicone craft sheet, then my cardstock, my stencil, and this I centre the pattern over the cardstock, and then my blue 3D embossing plate. And this gives a lovely deep crisp impression on your cardstock. I've used some temporary adhesive to fix my cardstock to my silicone sheet, and then I've repositioned the stencil back over the embossing and fixed that in place just with some washi tape. Now I want to heat emboss this with copper powder, and I'm going to use my Delicata Celestial Copper ink to do this. Now normally when I'm embossing I use Versamark, and if I'm embossing through a stencil I will press the Versamark all over the raised area, but you can't do that with the Delicata ink. It just doesn't have much effect at all. So I found the best way to transfer the ink to your card is to swipe it very gently. You don't want to damage that ink pad at all. Now once you're happy with the coverage you've got, you can lift up the stencil just to check you haven't missed any areas. Then you can cover with your embossing powder. Now I did prep this cardstock using my embossing buddy before I fixed it to my silicone mat, so that would have removed any static or fingerprints, etc. I can then use my heat tool to melt all the powder. And this is what it looks like when it's complete. I'm going to use my Stamparatus to stamp the sentiment for the inside mat, and this comes from the Greatest Part of Christmas stamp set. It's a beautiful sentiment. It says, "May the Christmas season bring you special moments and happy memories," which is lovely. I've removed the foam mat from my Stamparatus. I don't need that as this is a cling stamp, and I'm inking it up using Early Espresso, and I'm just stamping that into the centre of my cardstock. I have a large scrap piece of normal weight Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to use this for my front panel. I'm using the Nature's Beauty stamp set, and I'm just using the deer, the snow and the little shrub images. I'm stamping with Memento Tuxedo black ink because I'm going to colour this using my Stamping Blends alcohol markers, and I'm just going to stamp this deer into the centre of the cardstock. I saved the mask I created for my original card, and I'm going to reuse this again for this card. Now all I've done is stamp the image onto masking paper and then cut it out. So I'm going to very carefully place this over the top of my stamped image, and this will protect my image while I do some ink blending on the background. I'm going to mask off the ground area on my panel just with some copy paper, and then the colours I'm going to blend for the sky are Balmy Blue and Blueberry Bushel. And I'm going to apply the ink using one of my oval brushes. So starting with Balmy Blue, I'm going to pick up some ink on my brush, just take off the excess and then apply it to my cardstock. And I want a fairly even coat all around the deer. Switching to the blueberry bushel and still using the same brush, I'm going to apply this just around the outside. I want to leave like a halo almost around the deer itself. And then I'm going back to Balmy Blue to stamp the snow all around the deer. And then I can remove the mask, and I'll keep this again to use another time. I'm starting my colouring using the light Balmy Blue, and I'm just adding this in between the front and the back legs. When I cut my mask, I cut it in one piece, so I didn't separate the legs. So I just want to fill in those areas. Now I found this a really simple image to colour. I'm using the light crumb cake first of all, and I'm going over the whole deer. Then I'm going to add some darker shading with the dark crumb cake. I'll blend this in again with the light crumb cake stamping blends. I thought the colouring looked just a little flat, so I decided to add a little of the light soft suede marker, and this just adds another tone to the deer. I'm cutting this panel out using one of the rectangle stitched framelit dies, and it's the 4th size down from the largest. I'm adding a little shadow underneath the deer using the light smoky slate stamping blends. All the little shrubs will be stamped using early espresso ink. And I'm also going to add a couple of these to the inside mat. I'm going to add Dazzling Diamonds glitter to both of these panels, and I'm applying it using my fine tip glue pen. I love using this glitter for snow and ice. It gives just such a beautiful glisten and shimmer. I've got some copper foil mats that I'm going to layer my 2 panels onto. And just to mention here, if you wanted to, instead of cutting 2 separate pieces, you could actually cut the smaller one out of the middle of your larger one. I haven't done that today though. So you can then go ahead and layer these mats together. and then you can also add the mat that you created to go inside your card to the inside of your card. Then you can add your embossed panel to the front of your card. I'm adding dimensionals to the back of my main image panel, but I'm placing the corner ones in slightly from the edge. This is because I want to have a little room right on the corners to tuck my foil elements into. So then I can remove the backs of the dimensionals and then position this onto the center of my card front. I have two different types of foil elements, and this first one was cut using one of the dies from the Butterfly Beauty thin die set. The other one was a die that came from the In the Woods framelets die set. So I've cut two of each type, and I just want to tuck these into the corners. So I'm just checking first of all that they'll all slide under that main panel easily and the dimensionals aren't still in the way. Then I can add my glue and position them. And that's it, my card is now complete. I love the shine and the sparkle that's on this card, all from the copper foil, the dazzling diamonds glitter and the lovely embossing. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notifications bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. Bye for now.